Prizes on ESPN Pensacola 94.5 are non-transferable, non-redeemable in cash, nor exchangeable for any other prize. ESPN Pensacola 94.5 prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning, and you must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
Hey, Chad here from the Sports Drive. Well, it's the offseason, so it's time to get the players ready, geared up for football, and motivate them.
We've got to be the dumbest team in America in terms of playing the game. We give games away. We give them away, period.
We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. I just hope we can win a game.
Watching 48 more hours of videotape, gain another 10 pounds. That's how you get ready for Sunday, okay?
Or that. Join us for some off-season fun right here on the Sports Drive, 5 to 7 on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
This is Pensacola's hometown all-sports station and home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Catch all the Wahoos games home and away all season, plus all the latest Wahoos news from Chad Brilliante on the Sports Drive, 5 till game time weeknights. And hey, if your business would like to partner with us as an advertiser or with a local sports promotion, then give us a call at 850-262-6000 or shoot us an email from the advertise page on ESPNpensacola.com.
From local to national, they've got you covered. Every team, every sport, every game. Sports Call with Jordan and Davis starts now on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WICT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome into Sports Call with Jordan and Davis. We are live here in the ESPN studios, live on Facebook, live on YouTube. Go check us out. You can actually get an inside view of what's going on here inside the studio. Everybody look at that camera right there. Said hello to everybody watching. And if you want to be a part of the show, you can call us at 972-1945. Again, it's 972-1945. Let's just dive right into it, because tonight we've got a little bit of a game in the NBA playoffs. It's Game 6 between the Raptors and the Bucks. Will Drake be complaining, or will he be celebrating when this game is over? I'm not entirely sure, but I know a couple of people in this room has some theories on Drake and have some things they want to say. So we're going to start with Drake before we get into the actual game.
Yeah, man, because this is Spike Lee and the Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. Really, this is Spike Lee getting in the head of the Indiana Pacers back when Reggie Miller was the star of that team. And look, this is like that all over again. Drake is a guy who literally is God in Toronto. He can do whatever he wants. He is their global ambassador, so he's basically on the team. He's over there giving shoulder rubs to the head coach, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. I mean, not Milwaukee, but Toronto, they love it because he's a hype man, or if you want to call it jump man, like that song. But like he can do whatever he wants. And it's awesome for Toronto. And I find it so stupid that Milwaukee is over here complaining. Actually, I think he cut off my mic. Hello. Hey, I'm back. I think it's so dumb that Milwaukee is over here complaining about him. You're giving him fuel. You're acknowledging that he is bothering you. You're acknowledging that he's in your head. And as long as the NBA is okay with it, as long as Toronto's okay with it, as long as the referees are okay with it, Drake can continue to get in Milwaukee's head if they allow it. I think more power to him, and that's why I think that this is such a crucial game for Milwaukee. Milwaukee, this is the biggest game in probably Milwaukee history tonight, and they've won a championship. But 1971 was the last time they won a championship, and with Giannis, a guy whose odds are going to be the MVP, he has to have a good game, and he cannot let Drake get in his head. And obviously, he has to ball out and play his game on the court. This is Spike Lee all over again, getting in the head of the Indiana Pacers, or at least trying to. but Reggie Miller managed to beat him. So today, Giannis needs to be Reggie Miller. He cannot let Drake get in his head. He can't let the shoulder rubs on the other side affect anything. Mike Budenholzer, don't worry about Drake either, and coach your basketball team. It was the dumbest thing in the world for him to go public and be like, Drake's over here. Should he even be allowed to do that? Hey, no one's complaining yet on the NBA side, so play your basketball game. Same goes for Giannis. This is the biggest game of the year, and so far, like, I haven't really watched too much basketball throughout the year. The playoffs is when I tune in. This game is going to be a game to watch tonight.
Yeah, I have plans, but the DVR is set, and as soon as the plans are over, I will be watching this game. And as soon as I get back home, and look, the situation with Drake for me, my big issue, I don't have a problem with him being on the sideline. I don't have a problem with him being courtside because, like you said, if the Knicks can have a guy on the sideline, and even back when Jack Nicholson was young. For the Lakers, he was trash talking other players on other teams. Now that he's gotten kind of older, it's hey man, how's you going?
Plus
That's kind of stuff from him.
The Lakers have been kind of dumpster fires lately.
And he hasn't really been to too many games lately. But at the same time, they had him, so I have no problem with him having Drake right there next to the court talking, trash talking, giving the coach a shoulder rub or whatever it is. But my thing is coming after the game when he gets in front of news cameras and going, "We did this." We did this. Like, bro, you're not on the court. Shut up. You're a cheerleader on the sideline. You didn't do anything. You watch them do everything. If I'm Kawhi, if I'm the rest of the Raptors, I'm sitting back going, what was his stat line again? Because he didn't do anything in the game other than cheer. Thousands of other people in the arena did the exact same thing Drake did. The only reason Drake's getting noticed for it is because he's Drake.
Yeah,
that's my issue with it. But other than that,
and he's arguably one of the biggest superstars in the world right now. If there's a guy who has fame, if you're on the fame level, he's up there at the top.
There are people that don't listen to his genre of music that know who Drake is. You can show them a picture and they go, "Oh yeah, that's Drake."
Yeah,
they know.
You could be a Toronto fan. You may hate rap. You may hate any kind of hip hop whatsoever, but you probably love Drake because you're a Toronto fan.
Let's just run a theory. Let's post a picture of Drake on the Cat Country Facebook page and say, "Who is this?" and see how many comments we get.
Darius Rucker.
Yeah, well, we probably would get a couple of those.
Jimmy Allen?
Luke Combs? Can I get Luke Combs tickets? No. But yeah, no, look.
Great concert, by the way.
It was a great concert. I heard from a lot of people that really enjoyed that show. So, I think for this game tonight, I think you hit the nail on the head. Giannis has to completely block out all the noise. He's got to block out Drake. He's got to block out everything else. Just play his game, play the best of his ability. And if he does that, this is a game that the Bucks can win and force a Game 7. And if they do, watch out because we actually are introducing a new segment. And if there is a Game 7, that plays into my part of that new segment we're going to be introducing later on in the show.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this new segment. We've been talking about this throughout the week, and I'm really excited to get this going. Shout out to Justin.
Yeah, he come up with it. It's a good idea. Great idea, actually.
Should be a great segment. But, Milwaukee, this is their most important game of the year. I mean, obviously, this is Toronto's important game because they're at home. They win this game. They move on to the finals for the first time in franchise history, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
First time in franchise history. Their coach last year, who won Coach of the Year, couldn't get it done against the Cleveland Cavaliers last year, and he lost his job because of it. So then you bring on assistant coach Nick Nurse, gets them a step further than they've ever been. And now with this win at home, they have an opportunity to go. So obviously, this is the most important game in franchise history for Toronto. But let's go back to the Milwaukee Bucks. If they win this game, they go back home. They go back to Milwaukee where they have a really good chance at getting that home court advantage and winning this ball game. There's going to be a lot of chugging contests. Aaron Rodgers, you are not an MVP chugger, may I just say. And shout out to Christian Yelich, MVP for the Milwaukee Brewers. He can chug a beer too.
Did you see the response by Matthew Stafford on Instagram though?
Oh yeah, but he was watching the TV. He was with his wife or with some friends, and he has like a tall beer, and he just glug.
Yeah.
Puts it down. No issues. Hey, but Stafford, how far have you gotten your team in the playoffs?
That's true.
How many rings?
I think we know what he's been doing instead of prepping. I think we know what he's been doing.
Yeah, he's been working on that beer cut a little bit.
Yeah,
but also with all due respect, been taking care of his wife too, who had brain surgery. But either way, no. Obviously, this is a big game for both teams. But Milwaukee, they know that this is the biggest game of the year for them. Giannis is an MVP. In my opinion, he is the MVP.
I'd agree with that.
I believe Giannis is the MVP at the end of the year. I think it's hands down. You could argue James Harden. You could. But I think Giannis is hands down the MVP. This is his time. But obviously, they have to win this ball game, force that Game 7. You go back home. It's up in the air from there. Going back, though, to Game 5, wow, what a win by Toronto. huge win to be down 2-0 and then to go ahead and bounce back and you take 3 in a row. The momentum is on their side, and now they're back at home. They have to finish this out. If Milwaukee manages to win tonight, a whole lot of momentum shifts back to Milwaukee, and I have a feeling they would take Game 7.
You got to love, though, how the athletes from other sports in Milwaukee have been showing out for the games. Like Aaron Rodgers and Packers lineman and Christian Yelich all being out there to watch Milwaukee play.
Yeah, and you gotta love that support from other teams, and it happens. Like Milwaukee is such a smaller market. Milwaukee is such a smaller market when it comes to sports that the sports they do have in their market, they're all going to come out and show up. Even Aaron Rodgers, who plays in Green Bay, which isn't that far away from Milwaukee. I mean, he's going to turn up for his Milwaukee team. And one thing that we learned about the Milwaukee fan base, that I at least learned this dating back to last year's National League Championship Series when Milwaukee made it that far, these fans love their sports teams. In a way, they're a lot like Toronto.
Yeah.
Toronto, except Toronto is freaking insane. Toronto is insane when it comes to their sports. That's actually why I love Toronto.
Yeah.
I love the rowdy, hype fan base. I really do. Even if it's against my own team. Like Philadelphia, they're just jerks. Mm-hmm. They're just jerks. Toronto,
snowballs at Santa Claus, man.
They just love to party. They get rowdy. They love to party. Milwaukee, you know what? They have beer. They have the Milwaukee Brewers, and they have the Milwaukee Bucks. For the longest time, the Bucks weren't doing anything. They hadn't won a championship since 1971. The Brewers haven't won a championship, I think, since the 80s, if I'm remembering correctly. I think it's been since the 80s. The Brewers have really done anything. It's been a while, yeah. So now they're in a good spot. Their basketball and baseball teams are both crushing it right now. They're hyped. So I would love to see this game go back to Game 7, but you got to believe if Toronto does manage to take this one tonight, holy cow.
If Toronto wins tonight, Celine Dion is going to be out in the streets partying with Drake, and that's going to be something that I want to see all over social media. And it looks like Justin's got it pulled up right here, so I'll just let him tell you.
In 1982, they went to the American League. They won the American League East Division. They went to the World Series. They lost to the St. Louis Cardinals in the World Series.
And you know what?
4-3.
The Brewers did used to be an American League team. They're now a National League team. Yeah. But just the other Justin that's hanging out with us, we have a new intern with us. You'll get a chance to hear him here in just a moment. We have to distinguish you guys, by the way.
So this is what happened. We went to high school together. We played baseball in the same program. He always went by Rayleigh, or I don't like. Yeah, you went by Big Rayleigh. I always went by McGinnis. That's how they separated.
See, I kind of like the name J-Mac. Just because
J-Mac, I have so many nicknames, like from Guinea to Guinea Pig to McGinney, J-Mac. I have a lot of nicknames.
Or just Mac.
Yeah.
The debate is settled. Guinea Pig.
Yeah,
Guinea Pig.
Guinea Pig.
All right, Guinea. And then Rayleigh. All right, we'll try and let that settle. I've been calling them both Justin, but now that you're both in the same room, if we're going to continue this argument, maybe that'll have to be another segment where we're going to have to figure out what we're going to call our two Justins.
I mean, I'm down with that. But speaking back the fan base of Toronto, I mean, it's those hockey fans. You got to think, because hockey's just huge up in Canada.
Oh, I heard it's a madhouse.
Oh yeah, like remember a couple years ago, Toronto and the Texas Rangers in the playoffs. Jose Bautista, when he hit that home run.
Oh my God!
Those fans were going insane. Dude, that game was insane. One of my favorites.
If you look at the highlights of that game and you look at that one home run, first off, the bat flip was legendary.
Oh my God!
The bat flip was
iconic.
Legendary. But also, if you look at the stands, there's beer just flying all over the place. Oh, it is awesome.
And like, what was it? I'm pretty sure like when Edwin Encarnacion, yeah, he did something like really significant one game, and like everyone like just threw hats on the field. I'm pretty sure in Toronto.
Oh, so he hit 3 home runs.
I think it was when he hit 3.
Yeah,
he hit 3 home runs.
Yeah, everyone threw their hats on the field.
Just as long as it wasn't beer.
Yeah, as long as you're not disrespecting the field.
Like
the field itself. Respect the field. Like, don't throw beer on the field. There are also those fans who will sometimes go just too far ahead. And actually, I think this happened in Toronto, where a fan threw a beer at Adam Jones when he was still the center fielder for Baltimore.
Adam Jones has had to deal with a lot of crap. Yeah.
And that is when you take it too far. Look, if you're celebrating and you throw your beer up in the air and you shower everyone else, you're going to deal with the fans around you. But when you throw a beer on the field and it hits a player, gets the player wet, plus that's just disrespectful to a whole new level. That could get you banned nearly for life if you do that. You disrespect not only the player, you disrespect the field, and you disrespect the game. You slow down the game now because they have to clean up after you. And now they have to deal with you because you're a jerk.
Speaking of slowing down the game, did you see the idiot that ran on the field for the Braves game? Like, he jumps, it was around third. He was on the third baseline, jumps over the wall, runs into the outfield, the shallow part of the outfield, loops back around the first baseline, runs down that, and I gotta give it to him. He's dodging security left and right. Like, Georgia Tech needs to sign him up because he can make some tacklers miss during football season. And then finally, he's just like 4 guards are waiting for him there at home plate, and he just kind of gives up. But that was just we don't see that a lot in sports. Soccer, we see it a lot in soccer.
We see it all the time in soccer.
Yeah, but baseball and football, not so much. But I don't know if that's just security so good on the field for games. But it's I wouldn't mind seeing it happen a little more. It's kind of fun.
Their exit route of like getting off the field, it's a lot harder.
Their exit route is going to the same place either way. It's jail.
I would like to think they're intoxicated when they're doing this because. I don't think I've ever seen. I've been to one game where someone ran on the field. It was a Gator game, which, by the way, at Florida, if the Gators had like a huge win, you're not even allowed to storm the field.
Right.
Like in most SEC schools, you're not allowed to storm the field. I think Auburn was the one exception. I don't think you're allowed to storm the field at Auburn.
Yeah,
but that kick six.
Well, they were still fined by the SEC for that. They were still fined, I think, like $100,000 for that. But still, for Auburn, that's a slap on the wrist.
If I'm the AD or the president, I would gladly pay that. I would show up and give him a bunch of singles. Like, here you go. We will gladly pay this fine. War Eagle.
I've actually stormed the field once. I was 13 is when Marshall won their first Conference USA championship. We stormed the field. They tore down the field goal post. It was a crazy game.
But like in schools where like up north, they're more okay with people storming the field.
See, here's my thing about places like Florida storming the field. If you win a big game, you're the Florida Gators. You're expected to win big games. Like you're a powerhouse college program in football, so you're expected to win those games. So when I see places like it would have been like Clemson storming the field after the national title. It's like you're expected to win that game. You're a very good football team. You're a good football program. You're expected to win that. I'm not a fan of when it's a team that should be winning those types of games storms the field. Now Central Florida knocks off LSU in the Fiesta Bowl. They want to storm the field? Sure, kind of. I can agree with that one.
You know where you'll never see anyone storm the field?
Tuscaloosa,
T-Town. You'll never see anyone because first off, they expect to win.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter who comes in town. They are going to win. Oh, that's actually another point, and I don't want to get too sidetracked because we've been kind of all over the place this segment. But Alabama never plays huge games at home, right? Unless it's in conference.
That's true, yeah.
But they always start the year off against a really good team, like that's outside of their conference. But it's always in Atlanta or it's always in Dallas. It's never at home. There's never an outside of the conference.
I tell you what, I want to talk about scheduling a little later on in the show for college football. So let's put a pin in this because we are actually due for a commercial break. So we'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll have more Sports Call with Jordan and Davis right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 94.5 contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes on ESPN Pensacola 94.5 are non-transferable, non-redeemable in cash, nor exchangeable for any other prize. ESPN Pensacola 94.5 prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning, and you must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
Beau Rivage is the place to be for basketball championship action. From buzzer beaters to slam dunks, we have everything you need for hoop season. Make every game interesting at Beau Rivage. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Make new memories this summer at Harley-Davidson of Pensacola. Owning a Harley is easier and more affordable than ever because at Harley-Davidson of Pensacola, they say WTF. That's right, they are willing to finance. Bad credit, no problem. The Harley-Davidson experts will get you financed. Discover your inner child again with the freedom that owning a Harley brings. Harley-Davidson of Pensacola. Let's ride.
Florida, with its sunny weather and beautiful beaches, is a great place to walk and bike. Alert Today Florida encourages you to think beyond the driver's seat. Consider making a trip or two per week on foot or by bike. Active transportation like walking and biking can improve your health, reduce stress, and give you a few minutes to enjoy the sunshine. And here are a few tips to help you walk and bike safely. Remember, when walking, cross in the crosswalk and obey the pedestrian signals. And when riding, obey traffic laws and always ride in the direction of traffic because safety doesn't happen by accident.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh, dilly dilly. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WICT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome back into Sports Call with Jordan and Davis right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. If you want to be a part of the show, you can follow us on Facebook or YouTube, watch us there, or call into our studio line 972-1945. Again, that's 972-1945. As we just continue on through the show here, we obviously the big thing in sports right now is the Game 6 of the Eastern Conference, the Eastern Conference Finals coming up tonight between Toronto and Milwaukee. But we've got some other things to talk about. Joe Moorhead and Mississippi State, after year one, Mississippi State has given him a 2-year extension. That is ridiculous on so many levels for me because, look, they went 8-5 in year one. I'm not saying that's a bad season for a new coach coming in, taking over a team that does have talent. 8-5 is not bad. But what I will say, 8-5 is not 2-year extension worthy. Like, you need to at least see if there's an improvement from year one to year two. Because what happens this year if you go 6-6? Then that shows that you're declining with him as your head coach. So that's something that I saw that and I was just I could not believe that they extended him.
I could see why they went that direction though. 8-5 with a whole new coaching staff. You just lose your coach who got your program, really turned their program around. At one point, having the number one ranked team in the nation. I could see why, with a brand new coaching staff, they would want to give him that. But I'm on the side of it's a little too fast, right?
It is.
You had a good start year one. That's awesome. But can you sustain that success? And 8-5 is on a first-year coach is typically a promising sign.
Let's not forget when they
continue to build on that.
Let's not forget when they started the season, they were not playing like an 8-5 team. Joe Moorhead took over complete control of that football team halfway through the season. That's when they started getting better.
Look, I think Joe Moorhead's a really good coach. He did great things at Penn State when he was the offensive coordinator. He had a lot of hype going into Mississippi State. So to be 8-5, I understand where Mississippi State's coming from. But I'm also on the side of if you maybe give it one more season of 9-4. Maybe even 10-3. Maybe get to a bowl game and play some, have a good solid finish to the season. Maybe win at least one more game. I could see where, all right, it looks like Mississippi State is trending up.
Yeah.
But let's keep this in mind. You lose your starter, Nick Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
And then you have a whole new quarterback coming in. You have, your recruits. You want to see how this guy's going to recruit. Because, again, Mississippi State, it's a little harder to recruit there because you're also recruiting against Alabama, you're recruiting against LSU, Auburn, Texas A&M. These are teams I'm listing that are just in the West alone. And then let's keep in mind some of the other schools that are out and about. Ole Miss, people have options. It's harder to go to Mississippi State because they don't have a history of sustained success. So really, I want to see now, how is this guy as a recruiter? How is he as a coach who's able to sell Mississippi State? I want to see this stuff before I really jump ahead with the extensions.
Yeah, I agree on the extension half of things, but then also you're going to see more of I feel like the transition away from Nick Fitzgerald, you're going to see more of Joe Moorhead running his pro-style offense from Penn State. So maybe you see a little bit more of his quarterback coming in, his guys start to come in. So maybe it's not Tua, just to give him a little stability. But I think the transition from year 1 to 2 is important. But I think the most year 2 to year 3 is going to be your big transition year. So we'll see how that pro-style offense works.
Yeah, and we'll see. And again, I'm not opposed. Look, if Joe Moorhead does a great job at Mississippi State, by all means, extend his contract. But I think after year 1, it's a little early to be doing so. Texas, on the other hand, waited till after year 2 for Tom Herman, and look what happened with them year 2. So they've now signed him to a 2-year extension as well.
Which I thought was smart because he had kind of a slow start at Texas.
Yeah.
But now you have Sam Ehlinger, your quarterback, along with other players on the roster that are really starting to develop and get better and better and better. They had a great season last year. Despite being 15th to finish the regular year, to go into the Sugar Bowl and beat Georgia, who, by the way, I think Georgia's head and heart wasn't quite in that game.
No, it was like Michigan in the Peach Bowl.
Yeah, Michigan in the Peach Bowl. These are two teams that had opportunities to make it to a Final Four appearance, but yet they lost the game going into that would have gotten them. Georgia, to me, was a huge disappointment last year. Even though they beat Florida, they won some of the games they needed to win. For the second year in a row, they had an opportunity to beat Alabama. They lose to Alabama. Jalen Hurts, they had lost. It was a complete role reversal last year. Jalen Hurts comes in and leads the comeback, and they go on to defeat Georgia, coming back once again. And then Georgia goes into the Sugar Bowl thinking that they still should have gone to a Final Four game. I completely think they got what they deserved going to a Sugar Bowl, but they go in there thinking, you know what, we weren't supposed to be here. We were supposed to be in a different Final Four, a Fiesta Bowl, a Cotton Bowl. We were supposed to be in those games, but we weren't. So now here we are having to take this. I don't even think the Fiesta Bowl was actually a Final Four game. It was the Cotton Bowl and the Orange Bowl.
Cotton Bowl
the Orange Bowl.
Yeah,
it's Cotton Bowl and the Orange Bowl. They thought they were supposed to be in those games. It didn't happen, and so they're over here, whatever, and they lost because of it. But Texas still finished strong as a result. And they have a whole lot of hype going into this year. Oklahoma with Jalen Hurts at quarterback. I'm not necessarily sold just yet because I really love Texas going into this year.
I do too, Justin.
Now, see, the reason why they lost those games is because Kirby Smart's preparation process going into those games, he knows how to prep for a quarterback really well. But when you switch it up like they did both the past 2 years, they just didn't have enough time to get used to things with that. Like with Jalen Hurts, he scored so quickly they weren't able to get back on their feet and be able to stop him there. And like the 2 years ago with Tua coming in the game in the national championship, they weren't able to stop them there because they were so used to Jalen Hurts they weren't able to flip with that.
So there you hear it, Dan Mullen. Start Felipe Franks in the first half, put Emory Jones in the second half. You can beat Georgia and Jacksonville this year. Maybe end up in Atlanta for an SEC championship game.
Emory Jones.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with Florida this year. But I think Justin brings up a great point there with that. You change up quarterbacks on Kirby Smart, it kind of throws a wrench in his plan because again he's one of the best defensive coaches in the country, and he's going to plan and have this team ready to go for that particular quarterback that he's used to seeing. You switch it up, he's going to be like, well, crap, because you don't necessarily game plan for that guy.
Should we just turn football kind of like in baseball, we have a relieving quarterback type of thing now, you bring
up that point. You bring up that point. Notre Dame went to the national championship in 2012 where they were slaughtered by Alabama. However, I think the first 6 or 7 games of that year, their quarterback at the time, and you know what, his name escapes me because he's been irrelevant for a while now, but he transferred to Florida State after a while. But Notre Dame used to have a starting quarterback by the name of Tommy Rees. Well, then going into this season, out of nowhere, this guy who's a redshirt freshman is named the starter. And he ends up leading him to an undefeated season. They go to the national championship. This is when Manti Te'o was dominating, but then also had his catfish situation. But the first 7 games of the year, I want to say, Everett Golson would struggle, and then they'd bring in Tommy Rees to finish the game. But they would then the next week go back to Everett Golson, who would play well up until the fourth quarter, and then they'd bring back in Tommy Rees, and he'd finish off the game. Notre Dame, but they kept doing this where they would start Golson, and then if he struggled, they just put back in Tommy Rees, and they would win games. And it was odd because eventually you'd think, eventually Tommy Rees will take over as the starting quarterback again. No, that was never the case. They just kept putting Golson back in. And then as the year progressed, Golson would play good football, and he finished out the season despite getting slaughtered by Alabama. We all saw that coming. But that's the example of Notre Dame was doing that starter-closer kind of situation with their quarterbacks.
Look, you think that could be a love it or hate it type of situation? Do you think we could see football, not any sort of near future, but way future, they could transfer to that.
You know what? You want me to go ahead and answer that now, or you want me to wait until?
Just go ahead and answer it now.
I hate it. I hate it. I don't see football. I don't see football getting to that point.
Yeah, it doesn't seem likely, but it's interesting to think about.
Yeah, running back by committee is one thing. Quarterback by committee is just that's a mess for your offense. Because here's the thing. Well, if you get into offensive rhythm and all of a sudden you go, okay, we're in a situation where we need quarterback B instead of quarterback A, you put that quarterback B in. We saw it all the time with Will Muschamp and Jim McElwain as the head coaches at Florida. They would pull the quarterback, the starting quarterback would have a nice drive going downfield. Jeff Driscoll would have a nice drive going downfield. They'd pull him to put a different quarterback in to run a wildcat play. It would complete, or they would put Trey Burton in, and it would completely kill the drive. They would stop right there.
Well,
would not move.
I can see why. Hold on, now I see why they did it with Trey Burton. But remember when Jordan Reed, who eventually became he became like the best tight end in the league in the college football landscape. Like, he was a quarterback when he first got to Florida, and he sucked as a quarterback. But for some reason, when Urban Meyer was in his last year, and we had good old Steve freaking Adazio as our offensive coordinator, killing every bit of momentum you could possibly have, John Brantley had no chance at being a successful quarterback.
But like, also going back to what you were saying, though, like, it's different for baseball and football, like, because the chemistry that the quarterback, he has to work with a lot more players. He has to work with the center, the running back, the wide receivers, and the tight ends. Where the pitcher in baseball, he has to work with just the catcher has to know what he can do mainly.
The difference between football and baseball is a pitcher puts a lot more stress on his arm. A quarterback throws, an average quarterback throws 40 passes a game, maybe less than that.
40.
It depends on your offense.
Yeah, it depends on the offense. But going back to the two quarterback situation, there are situations where a two quarterback system works. It just depends on the drive. I mean, the 2006 Florida Gators are actually the prime example. Chris Leak and then Tim Tebow would come in and run the perfect spread, the ideal spread that Urban Meyer wanted. You even saw a little bit. You saw it last year against Georgia. Actually, a lot. Not even a little bit. A lot. It just depended on the package that you wanted to run. It didn't work out in the favor that because Jake Fromm was such a good starting quarterback, and he still had at least 2 years of eligibility left. There was no way that Justin Fields was going to stick around and wait it out to become the next starter. He wanted to go somewhere where he could play immediately, and I still don't know how he cleared eligibility for Ohio State, but whatever. There are certain situations I believe a two quarterback system can work, but we've also seen it more times than not where a two quarterback system just completely ruins a team.
Well, like you were talking about with Georgia, I think the Justin Fields coming in the game was more of a, hey, we're playing you now, so please stay and don't transfer. That's more of what that was.
They were trying to keep him there.
But yeah, I don't agree. You can't do a two quarterback system. You've got to have two. There's too much of a chemistry. There's too much of a momentum you have to keep and get comfortable with your offense. Once you bring in a second guy, you're starting from zero.
It's the exact same reason why we were talking about this last week at Bob Tyler with Le'Veon Bell and Odell Beckham Jr. going to train elsewhere for OTAs. You got to be with that quarterback.
Develop that camaraderie.
Absolutely.
Like, it's the chemistry and the play style. It changes so much because not every quarterback's the same. It's not the same. There's a lot of differences.
All right, I tell you what, we're going to take a quick timeout. We'll be back with more Sports Call with Jordan and Davis right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Wings are now on Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20 deal. Wings? Pick or bang, same buck. Pick a starter plus 2 entrees. Like 10 of Beef's famous wings, still $20. 2 for $20. Worth every penny.
Tower, this is Alpha Squad. Something smells mighty good up here. Who's hungry? Over.
Beef's 2 for $20. Pick a starter and 2 entrees, like Beef's new chicken tender Parmesan skillet, still just $20.
Introducing. Nah, not big enough. It's the brand new. Nah, still not big enough. Introducing the brand new French-inspired topped with fresh fruit crepes lineup, only at Denny's. Yeah, that's better. There's the new banana chocolate hazelnut crepes, the banana berry caramel crepes, and the strawberry vanilla crepes, made with fresh strawberries, strawberry sauce, and vanilla cream. Fresh fruit, French, and delicious. Come try all 3. See you at Denny's. Price and participation may vary. Limited time only.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golick and Wingo.
Oh, yeah.
To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day. Thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
Our Pensacola Wahoos are back for another season, and with the new season comes some fresh and new changes. Our Wahoos are now the new AA affiliate of the Minnesota Twins, and they have a new broadcast home here in Pensacola, right here at your hometown station for hometown sports, ESPN Pensacola 945. Catch all the Wahoos action from home and away with Chris Garagiola. Wahoos baseball presented by Denny's on the new official flagship station for the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 945 and ESPNpensacola.com.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WICT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome back into Talk Football. Not Talk Football. I'm running together. I do 3 shows here, and I've been good lately.
You ever going to get it together, Jordan?
Eventually I will. I have been good lately, and I was thinking about this yesterday. I was going to say, you know what? I actually have not messed up the title of the show lately, and of course today I messed up.
There's your problem.
Yeah. I jinxed myself. Yeah, it's
that's like going into a game. Like, let's say you haven't let up a hit. For like 4 innings. You're throwing a no hit. Oh, we'll get in that later.
Speaking of baseball, though, if you go down to Blue Wahoo Stadium, starting in about 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Florida A&M and Southern University are going to be playing a doubleheader exhibition at Blue Wahoo Stadium, absolutely free. It is absolutely free to go to. And really, here's the deal. We had Ray Palmer. He's the president of the Pensacola Sports Association. He came on the Pensacola Morning News with our sister station, News Radio 92.3, Andrew McKay. And he talked about, kind of the situation of why this all turned up was because these are 2 programs that are grossly underfunded. They basically had to cut their season short, but they won their conferences. So these 2 teams are going to the NCAA regional tournament, but they want to stay fresh. They want to play some baseball leading up to this tournament. So Blue Wahoos are like, dude, come over here and play some baseball. So, again, 25 minutes. If you're going to be downtown to do the Let's Chalk About It event, which I'm heading to right after this, or if you're going to a graduation, which is what I'm also doing, shout out to my cousin Emma, graduating from Gulf Breeze High School today, there's going to be some free baseball at the Community Maritime Park, Blue Wahoo Stadium. So come on down. These are 2 teams that you're going to see in the NCAA regional tournament. And how it works is if you win the region, you move on
to a super.
You move on to the College World Series. So really cool stuff. If I have some time before the graduation, I'm going to run on down there as well. So free baseball going on. But with that also being said, we have some Blue Wahoos baseball. The Blue Wahoos were defeated last night 5-1 against the Tennessee Smokies. Jorge Alcala, one of our star pitchers, just didn't have his game. 9 hits were given up total. And our offense was just non-existent. We scored 1 run, but the Smokies got us yesterday. It wasn't a solid match. But today, if you want to tune into ESPN Pensacola and listen to Chris Garagiola get the call, Brustar Graterol. This guy is the #1 pitching prospect for the Twins. The Twins, by the way, are the best team in baseball. They are the first team this year to hit 100 home runs. The Twins, also, by the way, led by new manager Rocco Baldelli, who used to be a Rays superstar. Go Rays. They lost yesterday, unfortunately. The Twins are the best team in all of baseball. They are crushing it. But Brustar Graterol, who's the #1 pitcher in the organization, he's going to be on the mound. This guy tops out at 102.
Yeah.
He's 5-0 on the year, and he has a 1.89 earned run average. Yo, if you have an opportunity to see this guy pitch, I have yet to have an opportunity to see this guy pitch. you got to check it out. This guy is a superstar in the making.
I got to see him pitch on Sunday against Mobile. Absolutely incredible. And we were sitting right next to the Blue Wahoos bullpen. So when he was warming up before the game, I'm just sitting there watching it. Normally, we're all, baseball players, either current baseball players or former baseball players. We can track the ball pretty well coming out of the pitcher's hand. I could not even pick that thing up. It is incredible. The speed and the movement he has is just it's phenomenal.
So I'm doing this segment called Riding the Pine.
Yeah.
If you haven't done it, I'm going to go ahead and just talk about it. It's on our Facebook page. It's on my Facebook page. We're sharing it. It's been really cool. I have an opportunity to sit down on the dugout bench and interview players one-on-one. Now, what's been cool about this is that the parents of these players and the friends are all sharing this. So it's really cool for me. I didn't think that was going to happen, but now it is. So check it out. It's really, really, really cool. But also with that, I actually kind of lost my train of thought. What was that?
I don't know, but Riding the Pine is great because we get to know the Wahoos behind the scenes. Yeah.
Here's what it is. I got so lost in talking about this, but I have a question that I'd love to ask these players. I've only asked it a couple of times now. Part of my random deck of cards that I pull, one of them is, and this is a roundhouse question, like round table discussion. Here we go.
Let's do it.
And if you want to join in on the conversation, 972-1945. That's the number. Would you rather take an Aroldis Chapman fastball to the rib cage, which, by the way, he has the record for
fastest
105.6 mile an hour fastball. Him and Jordan Hicks actually have tied the major league record. Would you rather take an Aroldis Chapman fastball to the rib cage, or take a punch to the face by Mike Tyson? Now he has his glove on, but this is like 19-year-old in his prime Mike Tyson.
So that makes the difference right there. I mean, not that it makes that much of a difference because there was a video of couple of months back of Mike Tyson throwing punches, and he's still got that power and speed to him. But
yeah, you're not taking a punch from him today, though. You're taking prime Mike Tyson with a boxing glove. You're in the ring, or would you rather take a ball to the rib cage on a 103 mile an hour fastball by Aroldis Chapman?
Okay, so it's not prime Aroldis Chapman when we were still like 103, 104, 105 consistently.
Well, yeah, I said 103.
Ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're taking Aroldis
ribs.
Chapman winning the World Series with the Chicago Cubs.
That's rib breaking velocity right there.
Yeah, but
that is some serious velocity.
Broken ribs or CTE? Which one do you want? Because I mean,
but let's keep in mind, it's only one punch.
It's one punch from one of the
this
hardest
is one
hitters. It's not
punch.
The hardest
your
hitter
jaw
in all
may
of
be
boxing.
forever on the other side of your head.
See, that's where I was thinking, because like your face, that's a little bit more.
That's
a big
what's
deal.
He hitting on
See,
my
like
face?
your ribs, like it's covered up. It's going to heal up, but like your face, that can do some serious damage for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm taking the fastball to the ribs.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the fastball to the ribs as well.
I'm also going to go with the fastball to the ribs, and I'm not happy about it.
No,
I'm not.
I'm storming the mound, but I'm taking it.
That's a big man. I'm not going anywhere near them.
Yeah, all the guys I've asked this question. I think it was Tanner English, the center fielder for the Blue Wahoos. He's like, yeah, I heard this question. I went ahead and took it back to the locker room, and we're all pretty unanimous, and I think I'm with this one too. I think we'd all rather take the fastball to the rib cage. But I was actually really proud of that question because now it had the whole team talking about it.
That's awesome.
We should do that though, like just come up with random questions like that, and like you use them for Riding the Pine, and like we could also talk about them here though.
I have a whole deck of cards where I just write down random questions. I also threw in a couple of trivia questions, and I'm not going to shame this guy on air because this guy has been really cool. His family, by the way, has been really cool. When I interviewed him on Riding the Pine, but I asked him a trivia question because I threw in like 3 Minnesota Twins related trivia questions just to throw them off, and this guy was the first one and so far only one to get the trivia question, and it's when was the last time the Minnesota Twins won the World Series? And unlike the Brewers, when I mentioned that I thought the Brewers won the World Series, they have never won the World Series, although they've been there. When was the last time the Twins, who have won a couple of World Series, when was the last time it happened?
96.
No. Oh, you know what? This guy said the same exact answer, and I responded back with no. It was the New York Yankees who won in 96.
97. It's in that
It
area
was
'cause
also...
they beat the Braves.
I want to say it's
no,
actually
97.
early 90s.
91.
91.
Yeah.
Did you Google it?
Yeah, I googled it.
Oh, come on.
See, that's not right.
Well, see, what
are you supposed to Google
what do
it?
you want from me?
I want you to actually get... Are you going to take the SAT and look up your answers?
If I can, yes.
If you can, but can you? No.
Give me another one. All right,
Dude, you're on the air. You can't say if you can look them up and get away with it.
By the way, Justin,
shout
out to Justin. Justin is done with his test. He's already taken his ACTs, his SATs, and you didn't cheat.
No, I didn't cheat.
There you go. So it doesn't even matter anymore.
Hey.
So you can say all you want. I wish I could have. I wish I could have.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, I think it's time we differ the Justins because there's two Justins in there.
Yeah, and we're getting like it's tough.
All right. So yes. So we have our trusty producer. We have Justin 1, Justin A, and then we have Justin B, who's our intern. He's hanging out with us today, and he's getting to he's getting the feels of everything.
I say we just legally change our name to Justin too.
So we just have 4 Justins in
Just
here?
sports call with Justin, and then just boom, we're
That's
done.
it. That's perfect.
I would. Okay, so I've been liking J-Mac, but I wonder if that's gonna catch on for Justin 1.
I mean, I have a lot of nicknames. I've gone by so many things. J-Mac, it's an old one. I haven't heard in a while, but like this year for baseball, I always heard guinea pig, guinea, and McGinney. And I always McGinnis is like the universe.
I'm gonna spare you guinea pig.
Guinea pig.
I really want to spare you. Spare you. It's not scare you.
I love it,
I want to
though.
spare you guinea pig though.
Well, if
How
you
bad
love
do you
it-
want your on-air name to be guinea pig?
I think J-Mac has a nice little radio ring to
Yeah,
it.
it does.
J-Mac.
Yeah, it does.
What's up,
I like
J-Mac?
it.
We can
I
go
like
with
it.
that.
I'm so used to calling you Justin, so this is gonna be a habit I'm gonna have to start forming.
Do you
J-Mac.
Do you wear Adidas?
No, I mean I have.
Okay, well I'm gonna call him Run JMC because he wears Adidas. He's got the gold chain. So I'm gonna throw it back to the '80s instead of Run DMC. It's gonna be Run JMC.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going Run DMC.
Yeah, Run JMC.
Run JMC.
JMC.
Yeah, what's up, Ron? I could catch on with that.
Yeah.
All right, so now we have intern Justin. What do we do for intern Justin? What was your nickname?
Oh, in high school, everybody just called me Rayleigh. They still do in college
Well,
ball.
we call
That's just 'cause my dad's
little
a coach.
Rayleigh, your little brother. We call
Ray
him Rails. We call him Rails, didn't we?
We could do Ray Ray for him.
Ray.
I mean, whatever y'all want to do, let's do it.
So Run JMC and Ray.
Yeah.
Or Ray. Run and Ray.
Yeah.
Run and Ray.
We're kind of sticking
I'm
with them,
slow, so I'm
still
not
having
running.
the same initials with R&R there with the nicknames, but whatever. It separates them still. So
We can always go with the J-Mac too. I mean,
I think he just wants to be called
I
J-Mac.
think
And
we'll
if you
just
have
call
it-
it
like
J-Mac.
it's Run
Let's just
JMC
go-
is such a
let's
long
just go
name.
J-Mac.
J-Mac it is.
Yeah.
I always love this kind of radio where you just kind of talk. And again, you're always more than welcome to join in on the conversation if you want to contribute anything. If you have some cool on-air nicknames that you want to give our two Justins, by all means, 972-1945. That's the phone number. Never changes. But okay, so Run JMC and Ray.
Okay, but since we're talking about this, Justin,
Yeah,
there's this
since we're on the
game on
subject of
here.
names.
This Cleveland pitcher, his last name is Bieber. Which is,
Oh, true.
That's-
It throws you off, right? Because you don't really know many other Biebers in this world.
No, you
Shane
don't.
Bieber, stud of the pitcher too. Struck
Yeah.
out 15.
He is a
Yeah.
good pitcher.
Yeah.
He held down the Rays for a little while yesterday. The Cleveland Indians beating my Rays. It was fine. It was fine, but yesterday was still a really cool day for me either way, so it's whatever. I moved on from it.
And that's exactly what Justin was talking about. We actually have the replay. Don't think out there they're letting him pitch 2 days in a row. We have the replay of the game from yesterday going on here in the studio on Sun Sports. So we're keeping up to date with that, even though it was a game that played yesterday. But anyways, we are actually up against the break, so we'll take this quick time out. When we come back, love it or hate it, right here on Sports Call with Jordan and Davis, ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Wings are now on Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20 deal. Wings?
Wings.
Pick or bang, same buck. Pick a starter plus 2 entrees. Like 10 of Beef's famous wings, still $20. 2 for $20. Worth every penny.
Tower, this is Alpha Squad. Something smells mighty good up here. Who's hungry? Over.
Beef's 2 for $20. Pick a starter and 2 entrees. Like Beef's new chicken tender Parmesan skillet, still just $20.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
If you're hitting 200 at the plate for the Pensacola Blue Wahoos, life isn't that great. But if you're hitting up 200 before the Wahoos games, things can't get much better. 200 South is your Blue Wahoos pre-party destination. Grab an ice-cold draft with the best selection in town at World of Beer. Relax in the most hoppin' spot at Blend Lounge. Or grab a quick bite to eat at Graffiti Pizza or Taco Aguave before the game. 200 South Palafox in downtown Pensacola. Peanuts and Cracker Jacks are all right, but a slice and an ice-cold draft? Now that's a home run.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh, dilly dilly.
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi, I'm Matt Kenseth. You don't have to be a race car driver to know that life can be full of drama. Some of it you can't control, like mechanical issues, high winds, and rain delays. But there's some drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
You just need to take that first step and find free classes near you, and leave the drama for the racetrack.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7. It is Sports Call with Jordan and Davis. Got it right that time. I am making a mental note of that. I will continue to keep up and not slip up like I did before. But it is time. You hear the music in the background. That means it's time for a little Love It or Hate It. Let's get it started here. I'm gonna get the first one here. We've got Game 6 tonight between the Bucks and the Raptors. Love it or hate it that there's going to be a Game 7. I'm going to start off. I'm going to say I love it. I think the Bucks win tonight and force Game 7.
So we're jumping ahead. Not going to do the game predictions. I'm about
like
it.
you're kind of combining.
It's because honestly, there's not too much else going on.
I think this is about the only thing we can predict for as far as games.
And I think we can allow ourselves to make this prediction later because the average listener listens 20 minutes at a time.
Right.
Might have
and
to
we
come
can
back
go
to
in more
this.
detail when we make our picks as to why we think they'll win.
So there will be a Game 7. I hate it.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep it at that.
Okay. All right, Justin.
I love it. I'm gonna go with you there. Game 7.
All right. J-Mac.
I love it because you're just giving time for Katie to come back. So I love it.
All right. Next, love it or hate it.
All right, I have one. Pitch counts in baseball, they are too strict.
So I love it because they're wanting to look out for the safety of players. Now, in the minor leagues, they are very strict about pitch count.
Yeah.
I think on the Blue Wahoos, they have a pitch count of 85 pitches.
It is, yeah.
Because if I'm the Twins, I want to make sure my players' arms are taken care of. A guy like Brustar Gratterall, who's 20 years old, who's already had Tommy John, I'm limiting him like 60 pitches if I can, because he's throwing 102. I would be extra cautious. I'm okay with it, but I do obviously have exceptions for pitchers like Max Scherzer. He'll go 120 every game if he has to. Like he's a vet. He's won 3 Cy Youngs. He can afford to do that kind of stuff. So I love it, but I do have exceptions.
I think pitching in general is kind of getting a little too watched over. I don't think the pitch count rule is too much. I like that rule, as Davis said. It keeps players healthy. It keeps their arms in good shape. But at the same time, something that I realized Sunday, and it's probably shame on me for not realizing it by now, but I didn't realize that they were using a countdown clock for pitchers in minor league baseball. I knew they were.
They've been doing it for a couple of years now.
Okay, yeah. See, I didn't realize that was happening. I never noticed it in all the Blue Wahoo games I go to. I've never noticed it, but yeah.
It's not as forced as strictly as you think. I've actually read into that a little bit. But first on the pitch count thing, you don't get to use this as an example of my sling, but I will say that for certain times I like it for your minor leaguers, your big time prospects. Obviously you don't want them throwing their arm out in the minor leagues,
right?
But there are certain guys like a Max Scherzer or a
David Price can go pretty far too.
David Price, anybody who my horse, I want you to take the ball and you do what I need you to do.
So I have a question. So we're seeing a flood of young home run hitters come into the major leagues. Justin just showed me, Ray showed me the stat earlier. Pete Alonso, former Florida Gator.
Yeah.
He is just dominating the base. He crushes the baseball. This guy is just, he is huge when you see him in person, but he's crushing the ball. You have Austin Riley, who is of the Atlanta Braves. He's hit most home runs within 10 games, tying Carlos Delgado, who I want to say is a Hall of Famer or is definitely on his way to becoming a Hall of Famer. You have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. of the Toronto Blue Jays, who had a slow start going into this year, but now he's catching his stride and he's hitting home runs. Will guys like Peter Alonso, Austin Riley, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. be in the home run derby?
I love it. I think they should be. That's the young talent. That's the future of Major League Baseball. So, yeah, sure. Put them in there. Let them hit dingers. Let's see what we can expect for the next few years.
There's a game in MLB, right? It's like the Young Stars game, right? Where like
that's minor league.
For minor leagues, the futures game.
I thought it was like 1 year players.
It's no. That's basketball. That's the NBA does like the Rising Stars.
Yeah.
But then in the MLB they have futures, which means they take the most promising prospects in minor league baseball.
Basically the top 100.
Like Brewstar Gratterall. We were talking about him. Like I could see him playing in the futures game coming up at the All-Star break. I think they play it.
Probably will be. Yeah.
I believe they play that game the day before the Home Run Derby, and they play it at the All-Star game venue. Which this year it's in
like
Cleveland.
Team USA versus the world or something like
Right.
that.
Right.
Yeah,
So
that's what
Brewstar
it is.
Gratterall would pitch for the world.
Yeah.
So, I do not think they will be in the Hall of Fame or the Home Run Derby. I don't think it's going to happen. Just because you kind of start to see that negative stigma towards the Home Run Derby. Like Aaron Judge, the year after he did, he's like, I don't want to do it anymore. I've done it. I'm done.
Which is fine.
Which is fine. Like I get that. So I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think all three would go, so I hate that. But I will say that I believe at least Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and maybe Pete Alonso. Austin Riley, I'm going to hold off on him. He just got to the majors. But Vladdy he's huge not only because his dad is Vladimir Guerrero, but also this guy, before he got to the majors, you see nothing but videos of him hitting massive bombs. Having a guy like that in the home run derby, if he can have more than 15 home runs at the All-Star break, I would be very shocked if he wasn't in the home run derby. He is a guy who is captivating to watch. He hits massive bombs. He's a batting practice kind of guy. It would be fun to see him hit home runs.
And I think because with who his dad is, that would be great for Major League Baseball. One thing Major League Baseball does not need to do, on his point about them starting to lose interest, players starting to lose interest in participating, do not let this become the new dunk contest. You need to find a way to start allowing players to get an incentive to where they want to be a part of it.
But it would be cool to have Guerrero Jr. play in this because his dad also won the 2007 one.
Yeah.
So I could see Guerrero at least wanting to do one. It'd be cool to have him this year.
But not this year.
Wait, but did they not like increase prize money
did.
for it?
They
did.
did.
$1
million.
Yeah, that's
$1 million
what's
to
supposed to be like the incentive.
Each player
get
who
more
participates gets an extra couple $1,000s to participate in the home run derby, and the winner gets an extra $1 million. I think.
I want that.
So that's what the incentive is. That's what it is.
I mean, I'll be lucky if my ball hitting it rolling would even get to the fence. But I'd try to get in that.
Yeah, I mean, like, of course. But moving on, next question. Still on baseball, do you think that players shouldn't be drafted out of high school and have to go play at least 1 year in college?
So like the love it or hate it would be. Players
have to go play 1 year in college just before entering draft.
I hate it because I think that if you have the skill and promise to go right away, then I think you should. Kind of like the LeBron situation or Dwight Howard situation. Like Dwight Howard, I think might have been the last one until that cutoff hit. That's Kevin Durant could have easily gone straight to the NBA. However, they then enforced that rule, so he was forced to go to Texas for a year. I think Blake Griffin was the same way. He went to Oklahoma. Like he could have gone straight to the NBA. But there are those very few players. There's only a couple of players that would actually be able to go straight from high school and go to the NBA. Zion Williamson probably could have been that guy.
Oh, definitely.
Because it really became an issue when he broke his shoe and they thought he suffered a huge injury. I think that we should start allowing players to go straight to the NBA. However, only for the most qualified players. If you're not that most qualified player, I think you should go to college for a couple of years. I think you should go to college for like in college football, go to college for 3 years, get a degree, get your education, or really build your game in college. Unless you're that really talented player that is able to go straight out of high school. That's how I'm looking at it. You see it a lot in baseball. There are players who go play who play amazing in high school and they get drafted and they have the option to sign or not. But then if they go to college, odds are they stick around for at least 3 years. I would love to start seeing that in basketball.
Yeah.
As far as baseball goes, for that question, I hate it. As far as you have your prime between certain years in baseball, the window is so short, costing somebody another year to go to college, which it would be fun to see. You got your big time guys like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. having to go to a college for a year would be super cool to see. Awesome. But your prime ages to play is too short. I just don't think it would work out.
I'm gonna say what was it again, that we're in favor of them being able to skip college?
No, that they have to go play 1 year in college.
Okay.
So basically continuing what we're seeing now in the college basketball
I'm
landscape.
going to say I hate it for along those same lines of what he said as far as the prime of a player. And plus, you look at it with minor league systems. I mean, we've got rookie level, we've got single A, double A, triple A. There's plenty of for the chances for them to continue to build their game and build up without having to go to college. So I'm going to say I hate it. I'm in favor of them being able to go to professional baseball right away.
I hate it as well, just because of the fact, like you said, baseball, that type of game, like losing a year, it hurt you so much.
Yeah, your window's too short.
All right, well, let's go ahead and call that for a love it or hate it, as we are getting ready to wrap up hour 1 here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. We'll take a quick time out. When we come back, we will have hour 2 Sports Call with Jordan and Davis coming up next.
All sports, all the time. ESPN Pensacola 94.5 WYCT Pensacola.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golic and Wingo. Oh, yeah. To the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen. With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom. Oh, dilly dilly.
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
Pensacola is loaded with famous athletes, and when it comes to seeing a chiropractor for their sports injuries, there is one team they trust, Doctors Edwin Roberts. A family tradition for 3 generations, Doctors Edwin Roberts Chiropractic, next to Legendary Fitness on Mobile Highway, has helped champion athletes like Emmett Smith and Trent Richardson. Doctors Roberts specialize in relieving auto accident pain to physicals for the student athlete. The best treatment for sports injuries is prevention. Call 912-4155 for a free consultation and change your life forever.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WICT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Do want to apologize real quick to our viewers over on Facebook. We're having some technical issues with our stream on Facebook. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but apparently it was just kind of repeating a certain part over and over. So we're going to look into that and get that fixed. But you can switch over and watch us on YouTube as well. Just go and do a search for ESPN Pensacola 945, and you'll be able to see us. It should have the little live icon right there next to it. You click on that and you can watch us that way.
Yeah, thanks for the heads up, Mom, for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
There.
J-Max mom coming in clutch.
But let's just get back into today's show, because it's hour 2 of the show, and we've kind of talked about a lot of different topics, and today's show is a little different. Usually we're a little more structured, but today we're just kind of sitting around. It's 4 guys just sitting around. This is basically a roundtable discussion show, and I think it's a lot of fun. If you want to be a part of the discussion show, 972-1945, 972-1945. My next discussion, or at least the next topic for us to talk about here, is Donovan McNabb. Came out and said he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He should be in the Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Famer. Is he actually a Hall of Famer? Go.
No. Okay, if you win a Super Bowl over the New England Patriots back when, 2005 is when it was, I would say yes.
Yeah.
And he went to the NFC Championship, I believe the year before or the year before that one. He had a really solid start to his career, and even his prime, 5-6 years into the NFL, really, really on top of it. And then he either gets traded or he leaves Philadelphia after the end. He went free agency. I'm not exactly. This was like 2007, I want to say. He goes to the Redskins, completely bombs for the Redskins. Does nothing. He's a captain. He gets benched, and he's still having to go to the center of the field for the coin toss because he's a captain, but he's not playing at all. I think that Donovan McNabb, if he had won a Super Bowl, you could make a really good argument that he would be there. But he fell off really quickly.
Well, the thing is, most quarterbacks, like if you win a Super Bowl as a quarterback, you're most likely going to get in the Hall of Fame eventually. Because I know a lot of old quarterbacks, like I can't think of the name right now, but it was an Alabama quarterback. He won.
Joe Namath?
Not Namath. It was someone else. It was someone
that.
else. It was but I can't remember his name. It was right like the year after he died. Yeah, they put him in the Hall of Fame.
Was it Stabler?
Ken Stabler. It was Ken Stabler.
Wait, I think we did that for worst quarterbacks of all time, right? Worst Super Bowl winning quarterbacks of all time.
The day before the Super Bowl, and we had been talking about this for like a month.
Yeah.
Like we're doing this, where we listed our top 5 worst quarterbacks. All 3 of us agreed that Joe Namath was probably the worst, and he's a Hall of Famer. Ken Stabler, he won. I think there's a picture of him smoking a cigarette like on the field. I want to say there's a picture of him somewhere.
He's sitting on his Raider helmet with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
He's smoking a cigarette on the field. But Ken Stabler did win a Super Bowl for the Oakland Raiders, and I think we all agreed that he was like number 4 or 5 on my list of worst quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl. Yeah, he did pass away. That is unfortunate. He passed away at a fairly young age too. At least like 60s, I want to say, is when he passed away. But yeah, Ken Stabler is the quarterback you were thinking of.
Justin's got some pictures of Ken Stabler pulled up over here. Yeah, you can't show it on the cameras, but let's just say he was showing the cameraman he's number 1.
Yeah.
I also agree. Donovan McNabb is not a Hall of Famer.
No, he's not.
He never won an MVP either. Never won a Super Bowl. Was pretty average, I feel like, for most of, or especially the last 5-6 years of his career. Yeah.
And you know what? You have time. Like he's been out of the NFL for like 6-7 years. You have time to get into the NFL, a Hall of Fame. Or Pro Football, actually. It's the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I do want to stress that because you could be in the Canadian Football League and be inducted, I believe. So it's the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I do want to stress that.
He's more likely to get inducted into the Canadian Football League. He didn't even play in the CFL.
His last year in the NFL was 2011.
So it's been,
it's
8
been
years.
8 years.
7-8 years if you're not counting this upcoming season. You had time to where the voters may come around and say, you know what, yeah, he had a good career, but now that you've come out and you say, I deserve to be in, no, you're giving me a reason not to vote you in. Be humble. I always like the people that are humble about it. Like they'll stand up there and they'll have tears in their eyes. Like, I still can't believe I've achieved this. This is amazing. Thank you so much for the people who voted me in. But to now come out and after being out of the NFL for a little while, after basically just achieving eligibility to get into the NFL or the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you come out and you say, I should be in. I deserve to be in. Like, you're not giving me a reason to vote you in now.
Yeah, and that's kind of almost the same as if you have a 3-1 count in baseball and you start to toss your bat and head to first base before the ump makes the call. If it's a 50-50 ball, he's going to call that a strike.
That's my pet peeve. That is my pet peeve.
Oh, yeah, because you're a pitcher.
Yeah, I hate that. I
for
hate
him
when
coming out going, I should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm a Hall of Famer. That's going to make voters go, no. And that's exactly what's going to happen, and you got a great point there. He should not be in the Hall of Fame because the seasons he had that were good quality seasons still weren't great seasons. I mean, you compare them to other quarterbacks that are in the Hall of Fame, it doesn't even come close to adding up. So it's great that he thinks he's in the Hall of Fame, but hey, I mean, how many projects have we done back in elementary school we got a D on, but our mom thought we deserved an A? I mean, it doesn't matter what he thinks. He's not a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Again, if he had won a Super Bowl and then he still had the career after the Super Bowl, like the way it ended up being, you could make the argument. Because anyone who is the starting quarterback for your team and then you have a really great year and then you lead your team to a Super Bowl, it's possible, depending on the landscape of their career.
Yeah.
You can look back at it and say, yeah, it's possible. They could probably be a Hall of Famer. Donovan McNabb had a terrific career leading up to that Super Bowl. Great career, great quarterback, one of the best in the game at that time. But there are a ton of quarterbacks who are great quarterbacks, but their career as a whole didn't equate to great success in the long run. So now you look back at it and you say, did you deserve a Hall of Fame nod? Probably not. Dan Marino didn't win a Super Bowl, but he is a Hall of Famer because he overall had a great career. He consistently had a great career, putting up great numbers on a consistent basis. He just was never able to get over that hump and win a Super Bowl. He made it to a Super Bowl. He never won. Numerous times he took his team to the playoffs. Yeah. Numerous times he shattered records. He had numbers that people couldn't catch. He just couldn't quite get over that hump. But you look at his career and still say, you know what? He was successful despite not being able to make it to a Super Bowl. He was kind of that one exception, not Donovan McNabb. He didn't on a consistent basis maintain success. And I just cannot give him that argument of going to being a Hall of Famer. And I remember one of our first shows that we had, does Eli Manning deserve to be a Hall of Famer? Because right now, that was an awesome conversation.
That was the second show. That was
the second show.
The week before I ever started here.
Second show we ever had, and I asked the question: does Eli Manning deserve to be a Hall of Famer? I say yes. I am hands down yes. As a matter of fact, I don't even think he had a bad year last year, despite their record not being that great. I don't think the Giants. I think the Giants were better as the season went along, but I think Eli Manning had a great year in terms of himself. As a team, not very good. As himself, I thought he had a good year. Going into this year, it's looking like this is going to be his last year as a Giant, and probably his last in his career. He's been their quarterback for 16 seasons now.
Yeah, something like that.
And he's won two Super Bowls, beating the best possible team he could beat, and beating the best possible player he could beat to win those Super Bowls. That's Tom Brady, everybody, who just won another Super Bowl. And yes, it wasn't the cleanest Super Bowl in the world, but it's a ring, damn it. He won the Super Bowl. He defeated the best possible player and team he could beat to win 2 Super Bowls. Yeah, there were years where he really went down. He had a couple 5-win, 6-win seasons, but I think as an individual, I see him putting on that golden jacket by the end of his career, because there are definitely worse players that are donning that jacket right now. Looking at you, Joe, there are definitely worse players that are donning that jacket now. Eli Manning, I think as an individual quarterback, I think he's done more than enough.
And you may have worn me down lately on that, because I'm gonna say,
because I keep throwing punches, man.
He's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't think he's gonna get in right away. But it's gonna take him a few times. But I think he will eventually get in.
Second ballot, third ballot.
Donovan McNabb, I'm going to ask you a question first before I give you my little stat spill I found here. How many times do you think in his career did Donovan McNabb throw for over 4,000 yards?
Ooh, good question. See, this is stuff that I don't even think about.
I'm going to say it's less than 5. Yeah, I would probably say 2.
2?
I'm going to go with 1.
0.
And I'm not shocked. I am not shocked.
Yeah. Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
How many times do you think he did it?
9.
Yeah, that's...
How many years was Marino in the league again? Like 12, 13?
Something like that.
Yeah.
13, I think. Yeah.
He was in the league for 8?
No, like 8 years. 8 years.
He's just throwing out numbers.
So Marino threw for over 4,000 yards 5 times, including one time he threw for over 5,000 yards.
I knew he did. I knew because he held the record for most yards in a year.
McNabb, no Super Bowls, never threw for over 4,000 yards. Marino, no Super Bowls, did it 5 times, not to mention a 5,000-yard season.
He held the record for most passing yards in a season.
Right.
And see, also, going off this fact, Eli Manning, he will make it to the Hall of Fame, definitely not a first ballot. But, like Randy Moss, no MVP, no Super Bowls, but just look at his stats. Like,
Randy Moss was Randy Moss. Yeah,
that's Randy Moss.
I think he went to one Super Bowl with the Patriots.
No, he did, and they lost to
They lost to Eli Manning.
No,
but he was Randy Moss, right?
Yeah,
like he was mossing people. Like him and Dante Culpepper. That was when he was really lighting it up. He was also one of the best players in college football at the time. He was at Marshall. Of course, he only ended up at Marshall
stay out of trouble,
because he was in trouble. But he was also from West Virginia.
Of course, he's
Rand, West Virginia. That for a population of less than 1,000 people, had 2 really good athletes come out of that city, both from the same team. But I mean, that's Randy Moss. It's so much easier, I believe, as a non-quarterback to get into the Hall of Fame. Like Joe Thomas, who retired from the Cleveland Browns, he's arguably one of the the best offensive linemen to ever play football. But you really wouldn't know it. You wouldn't really know it because he played for the terrible Cleveland Browns.
Right.
As one offensive lineman, it's hard. You can't give your team all success. You can help protect your quarterback, but when a team that's notable for drafting bad quarterbacks over and over and over again, you can protect them all you want. You still can't. You can't help it if he throws an interception. But Joe Thomas was still, just based on looking at the numbers, and as a guy who doesn't focus on offensive lines, you're not even going to think about Joe Thomas as one of the best offensive linemen to ever play. But he's everyone's saying as soon as he's eligible, he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
And actually, I want to clarify, Randy Moss actually went to 2 Super Bowls because his last game was a Super Bowl with the San Francisco 49ers where they lost to the Baltimore Ravens.
It was?
Yeah, he was on that.
Yeah, I completely forgot he was a 49er.
Because Colin Kaepernick, he never used him. He always went to Michael
Crabtree.
Yeah,
might have had a Super Bowl if he used him.
Yeah, I forgot one play. He was wide open in the end zone in the 4th quarter, and he tried to go to Crabtree, who's in double coverage. And Randy Moss, arguably one of the greatest wide receivers of all time, is just wide open.
Yeah, but it's hard to go to arguably the greatest wide receiver of all time when he's 40.
So, and also to clarify, Dan Marino was in the NFL for 16 years. Played 16 NFL seasons.
I knew he played in the league for a long time. So to have 5 seasons of plus 4,000 and 5,000, looking good. Oh, breaking news! We can get back to our conversation. It's a possible, but Dallas Keuchel, he's a former Cy Young winner. He is a free agent right now because there are plenty of teams that are trying to go for him, but he keeps saying no because he believes that his market, his talent and his market, he deserves to have a certain price. It's rumored that the Tampa Bay Rays are looking at him, but that's a little shocking because the Tampa Bay Rays are not really known for signing players to certain contracts, which leads me to believe they're probably going to sign him for 1 year but pay him a decent amount of money. But that would be really significant because Charlie Morton, who is also on that World Series team for the Houston Astros, he pitches for the Rays and he's pitching lights-out baseball. Could be a good 1-2 punch. Have Charlie Morton pitch, then Dallas Keuchel to follow. The Rays, by the way, a team that is known to starting a relief pitcher for an inning or two and then going to a starter. You could maybe see that with Dallas Keuchel, or Dallas Keuchel would just be another starter in the rotation.
And this is by no means a done deal. I was just showing him there is a rumor out of Ken Rosenthal that the Rays may look to sign Dallas Keuchel if the Yankees or somebody like that doesn't strike first. But again, that will not happen. And I'm standing by this. It will not happen until after the MLB draft when they don't have to forfeit a draft pick over.
That MLB draft is coming up here very soon.
June 3rd, I believe.
Oh, you know what? Let's finish up our quarterback conversation. We don't even have enough time, so I know we're about to take a break. But to my final point, to go back, I wanted to make this point about Donovan McNabb. You had players like Westbrook. Remember Westbrook for the running back for the Eagles? Yeah. You had a lot of other players.
Terrell Owens that year. Terrell
T.O. There were players on that team that were able to contribute to the success of the Eagles to where I don't think Donovan McNabb had to throw it as much or throw it as far.
Not to mention Andy Reid was the head coach. Look at what he's doing with Kansas City now. So.
But man. Patrick Mahomes, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Just side note, I would be disappointed if Kansas City doesn't make it to a Super Bowl with Mahomes as quarterback. I think it will happen, though, eventually.
No, I agree, and I think we all agree that Donovan McNabb does not belong in the Hall of Fame. We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll get back into this discussion on baseball and the Rays and all that we were just talking about. Coming up next right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Pensacola Beach isn't just a sun-soaked white sand paradise. It's also the best dance floor in 50 states. Every Tuesday night, the stage near the beach ball comes alive with great music you know and love. Bands on the Beach are free shows every Tuesday through October, and they're brought to you by the Santa Rosa Island Authority. This Tuesday, it's the Bay Bridge Band. They bring a full horn section to the party. Screaming guitars, dynamite vocals, covering songs by Adele, Chicago, Aretha Franklin, Van Morrison, and more. Join us for live music every Tuesday night at 7 for Bands on the Beach.
What if people had a battery level icon? Like on your phone? You'd see a lot of us in need of a recharge. Thank goodness there's 5-Hour Energy. Because just one sugar-free, vitamin-packed 5-Hour Energy shot can get you all the way back to 100% fast. And isn't life better at 100%? 5-Hour Energy. Get back to 100%. For more information, visit 5hourenergy.com.
Hey, Chad here from the Sports Drive. Well, it's the offseason, so it's time to get the players ready, geared up for football, and motivate them.
We've got to be the dumbest team in America in terms of playing the game. We give games away. We give them away, period.
We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. I just hope we can win a game.
Watching 48 more hours of videotape, gain another 10 pounds. That's how you get ready for Sunday, okay?
Or that. Join us for some off-season fun right here on the Sports Drive, 5 to 7 on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WICT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome back into Sports Call with Jordan and Davis. We are live here in the studio. If you want to be a part of the show, 972-1945, I should say, 972-1945. And we are introducing our brand new segment right now at this point in the show, and it's called Win or Loss. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to go around, we're going to take some things that happen in the sports world. We're going to have one that we see as a win for that team or that organization or that player, and one that we see as a loss. So since Justin, this was your idea, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, so it's wins and losses. So something for if you've ever seen Sports Center at night after all the sports are done pretty much for the day, Scott Van Pelt, he has something called the best thing he saw today. It's kind of like a spin-off. It's going to be like the best thing we saw this week for someone, and like the worst thing that we saw this week. So what I have for my win is going to be the Raptors, because they were down 2-0 in the playoffs, and this week they've come back. Now they're up 3-2, and today they can win it all. But for my loss, it's something that happened Thursday in college baseball. It was John Doc Saxes. He had a no-hitter going through 8 innings versus Ole Miss. Hadn't let up a single hit. Going in, and then his pitch count got so high the coach pulled him, handed the ball off to their bullpen. First at bat, lets up a hit. So that ruins the team's no-hitter completely. And then 2 at bats later is a double down the line, scoring that hit, and puts up Ole Miss up by 1, because Texas A&M, their offense had done nothing all game, and so it was 0-0 all the way through, and it cost him a shutout, a no-hitter, and just a win completely out of everything.
All right, those are 2 good ones. Okay, I'll go ahead and go. For my win, I'm going to go with the Golden State Warriors. Not only are they just winning in general on the court, but here's the thing. The longer the Eastern Conference Finals goes, that's more rested Kevin Durant gets. Not saying they need Kevin Durant to win the NBA Finals, but if you have him on the team and he's ready to go and he's healthy and he can play, that is definitely, it's a little bit of breathing room. Because for whatever reason, look, Steph played really well in the Western Conference Finals. Let's say Steph struggles early on. If you've got KD that can back him up, that's going to provide you that safety net there.
And to add to that point, KD is back-to-back Finals MVP.
That's right. Yeah.
So just to go ahead and throw that point out there, it'd be nice to have him, but they are proving they can win without him.
Right, absolutely. And my loss for the day is actually going to be involving the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They signed Ndamukong Suh to a one-year deal. I'm going to say this is going to be a bad deal for them. He's not going to be able to give them much production. I was talking about it with Chad on the Sports Drive earlier this week. Suh is kind of at that point in his career where he's going to play 1 year here, 1 year there, 1 year here, 1 year there, and usually that starts happening when a player is starting to wind down their career. So I think Suh's last couple of good seasons were spent with the Miami Dolphins. He went out, didn't work with the Rams. Now he's with the Bucs for this season. I could be wrong on this, but I don't think they're going to get much productivity out of him. They're going to get a little bit from him, but not what they're thinking they're going to get.
All right, my win is going to Drake. Drake, the super fan for the Toronto Raptors.
Right.
The way that he was able to have a big impact somehow, some way, to help win in Toronto in Game 4 and to get the attention of the Milwaukee Bucks and to clearly get them rattled a little bit. Big win to really Drake and the Toronto fan base. And then my loss goes to Aaron Rodgers because he proved he can't chug a beer.
Dies in Game of Thrones, can't chug a beer.
He can't chug a beer at all. I mean, this is a 2-time MVP, won a Super Bowl. And he couldn't even finish his beer, and that's just a no-go. I mean, I'm not the fastest chugger in the world, but damn it, give me a beer, I'll finish it.
Get it down at least.
Yeah, he didn't even finish it. He just sits it down.
He drinks, and then he's just like, all right, I'm done. Then Christian Yelich is like, my turn.
America's MVP right there.
So yeah, my loss goes to Aaron Rodgers. Man, just you gotta work on it, man. You want your best day that day. You're gonna have to work on it.
Really Matthew Stafford showing.
And where was Danica? Danica wasn't even there to cheer him on.
That probably is actually for the best for that relationship because she probably would have out-chugged him too. So
yeah,
let's just,
you're not wrong.
Oh, and shout out to the fan that bought her a drink with him sitting next to her.
Yeah, that's another loss for Aaron Rodgers. But all right,
just losing lately, man.
Yeah.
So I've got 2 baseball ones here. My win is for the Tampa Bay Rays. David, you'll be happy about this. So here's my win, and here's why. So if you remember last year at the trade deadline, the Pittsburgh Pirates wanted to acquire Chris Archer. So the Rays traded Chris Archer to the Pirates for Austin Meadows and for Tyler Glasnow.
Right.
As we know, Glasnow, he's hurt right now, but he has pitched phenomenal this year. So he's thrown really good. Meadows has come up. He's hit the ball very well. And Chris Archer has been awful for the Pirates. Archer's currently sitting at a 5.15 ERA. 5.55 ERA, and he is sitting at a 1.43 WHIP. And for those of you that don't know what WHIP is, it's the innings pitched divided by walks and hits allowed each inning. So this guy is getting hit around a ton. And then you've got Austin Meadows, young guy, Glasnow, both young guys coming up, contributing to the big league club. And it's a big part while the Rays were in a fight for the AL East right now.
Yeah, and on that note, there's an article that came out not too long ago that said, attention Major League Baseball teams, do not trade to the Rays. They are good now.
Yeah.
And with that, Chris Archer, I was not against that trade. He's a fan favorite. He's a fan favorite, don't get me wrong. In fact, he was actually in charge of the Rays social media.
Right.
Like the Rays social media page was all him. And the Rays social media, by the way, best in all the game. The Rays social media, hands down, is best in all the game. Follow their Instagram page, and you will see why.
Speaking of chugging beers, did you see the first base coach for the Tampa Bay Rays actually timing
He timed it.
Yeah.
That was
great.
Awesome. And the Rays even commented on that. They were like, MVP coach. But Chris Archer, as a Rays fan, we were we paid a lot of attention to him. He had 2 good seasons, and both of those seasons were all-star seasons for him. But he hit a lot. He throws a blazing fastball, but it's straight and it can be down the middle. And guess what? A 95-mile-an-hour fastball is hittable in the major leagues. It may not be hittable for me, but it's going to be hittable for someone who's in the major leagues. So people are squaring up on him, and that happened a lot. But the reason why he got so much positive attention is because he's such a positive guy. He's a very out there guy. People know him. He's very friendly. He interacts well with the fans. He's a fan favorite. People love him. But that wasn't in the end equating to wins for the Rays. He was losing games for us. We traded him. The Pittsburgh Pirates looked at that as a good trade because they traded away some of their best prospects. Well, guess what? Now we have Austin Meadows who's tearing the cover off the ball. And Glasnow, yes, he is on the DL at the moment, but he was probably the best pitcher in all of baseball.
He was the best pitcher in all of baseball before he went hurt. Went down.
This is a guy who's throwing high 90s with a slider that you just can't even touch, and his cutter is leaving leaving batters clueless.
And Austin Meadows, like you said, he's second on the team with 9 home runs, hitting .325. So great deal for the Rays. And they offloaded Chris Archer, which again had some great years in Tampa, but his decline is coming, and it's happening right now. So that's my win for the Tampa Bay Rays. My loss. Do y'all remember the crazy offseason that was the New York Mets?
Yes.
So that is my loss because first they bet on themselves to compete in the East, and maybe they still can, but Jed Lowry, they signed as a free agent on the injured list. Stupid, it's called the injured list now instead of the DL. But he's on the IL now. Has been all year. Not a timetable yet for his return.
Which Jed Lowry is like, what, 35?
He's 30. He's in his upper 30s, but he was an all-star last year for the A's, and he hit the ball very well, but he's always been injury-prone. So they go get him. Then they go and acquire Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz from the Mariners, which Diaz is one of the best closers in the game. Great. I like that one. But Cano, you're paying him a lot of money to really not do much. And then you've got Yoenis Cespedes, who's out for the rest of the season because of a broken ankle.
Because of his dumb self.
Yeah, these moves they made that didn't make a whole lot of sense future are now completely exploding in their faces right now.
And by the way, I think Yoenis Cespedes, he owns a ranch, and he was
in
on his
South
horse.
Florida, yep.
He was on his horse, and so he was jumping off the horse, and he landed awkwardly, and he broke his ankle.
So this is completely blowing up in their face. So big time loss for the Mets and their front office and first year GM Brody Van Wagenen. It's a big loss and looks very bad that you've done this and blown up a team that really needed to rebuild, and now you've got them in a financial hole.
And it's incredible the decline of the New York Mets. You go from going to a World Series, you have the best starting pitching staff in all of Major League Baseball. Your pitching staff is just one after another. It was mimicking the Atlanta Braves the year they won the World Series in '95. Tom Maddux,
Tom Glavine. Greg Maddux. Yeah,
Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine,
Smoltzy,
John Smoltz.
Big three.
So you had the big three. They had really more than that. They had more than that on their starting staff. You had Jacob deGrom, Noah Syndergaard, the guy who won
Steven Matz and Zach Wheeler when they were healthy.
Zach Wheeler, but
Matt Harvey, who was still the Dark Knight at the time.
Yeah,
he was the Dark Knight, NL Cy Young winner. And then injuries kind of took over from there for him. His career really slid down fast. But you had 5 of the most solid starting pitchers in all of baseball, and then in one offseason just blows up. But now, the promise that the Mets do have is the guy I mentioned before who could possibly be in the home run derby, Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso, go Gators, is such a dominating hitter. He's one of the best young hitters in all of baseball right now. He is showing a lot of promise for this staff, and if they can build a team around him and continue to have that strong pitching staff, the Mets can be something. They can be something. But Yoenis Cespedes, the last 3 years has not been healthy. Has not been healthy at all.
I don't think he plays for the Mets again. I really don't.
I think he's gone after this year. He's done for the rest of the year.
I think
with that
he will make it back on the field as a Met. But talking about Pete Alonso, Jordan and J-Mac might remember this from earlier because I kind of told him and gave it away. But Davis, Pete Alonso is 2 home runs shy of matching a certain hitter for most home runs by a rookie before June 1st. Do you have any idea who that hitter is?
Okay, repeat the first part of the question again.
So Pete Alonso is 2 home runs shy of the most home runs by a rookie before June 1st. He's got 17. The record is 19. Any guesses on who it was? I'll give you a hint.
I know. Don't even give me the hint. Mark McGwire.
You are correct. It is Mark McGwire. He is 2 home runs shy of the rookie record, which is Mark McGwire holds as 19. Alonso has 17.
I think
I think it happens.
Oh yeah,
true
absolutely.
confession. Isn't it awesome whenever you're like, nope, don't even give me a hint. Answer.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed that he got that. I really am.
It's always so awesome because there's always that small it could be like someone like Jose Canseco but no, it was Mark McGwire. You know how I knew that was because they were talking about it on SportsCenter.
So you cheated too.
No, it's called studying. It's called studying. It's not called looking up the answer when you're asked it. It's called knowing your stuff.
I give you kudos for that one. Good job.
I want to hang on. I'll let you pose this question, but I want to throw an additional loss out there because I was waiting to see if anybody brought this up as their loss. I want to throw a loss out there to Auburn's baseball team from the SEC tournament because of how they lost to LSU.
Why did we not think of that?
So it is 3-2. LSU or Auburn is pitching. Guy on third and second, and then a pass ball happens, and the catcher kicks the ball, can't find it at all.
And then the first baseman picks it up, and throws it down the third base line.
So the tying run scores. The runner's at third. Well, then the catcher, or the first baseman gets the ball. Or the pitcher gets the ball, throws it to the catcher. The runner had already scored. He lasers it at him, so he barely even sees the ball. Gets past him. No one backs up the catcher, which you don't really blame the third baseman on this one. No one's there to back up the throw.
Third.
And so it was just a jog home for the last runner.
Hold the ball. Don't
Game over.
panic.
And Auburn gets eliminated from the SEC tournament.
What do you think George Blake would have done in that situation there?
High school coach George Blake would have said, "Don't panic." Would have been the first thing. The number one rule is don't panic. And he would have went crazy. I mean, hold the ball and you're okay.
Yeah.
Like, you've already screwed up once. Stop. Wow.
Stop the bleeding.
That's a good loss. Why didn't none of us say that? I don't know, but great job there.
Yeah. All right.
I wanted to do that one.
Justin's got a really good question that he wants to pose. Okay. Actually, I tell you what, let's take a quick time out because this is going to take a full segment to do. So let's take a quick time out because we're past the break, actually. So we'll take this time out. When we come back, we'll pose that question coming up next on Sports Call with Jordan and Davis, ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns. And that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there. We are broadcasters. Visit wearebroadcasters.com or text radio to 52886 to learn more. Furnished by NAB and this station.
Make new memories this summer at Harley-Davidson of Pensacola. Owning a Harley is easier and more affordable than ever because at Harley-Davidson of Pensacola, they say WTF. That's right, they are willing to finance. Bad credit, no problem. The Harley-Davidson experts will get you financed. Discover your inner child again with the freedom that owning a Harley brings. Harley-Davidson of Pensacola. Let's ride.
Hey there, I'm a glue stick, so I have one job. I glue kid stuff. So sorry for being jealous of Geico, who does a ton more, like give you 24/7 access to thousands of licensed agents. And Geico has been around for over 75 years and has a 97% customer satisfaction rating. While I've just got mediocre adhesive skills, Geico also has an award-winning mobile app. Uh-oh, arts and crafts time. No eating the glue stick, Miss Lydia.
Geico, expect great savings and a whole lot more.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golic and Wingo. Oh, yeah. To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Welcome back into Sports Call with Jordan and Davis. We're also streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com, as well as on your HD radio, HD2 98.7 WICT. Our producer Justin came up with 3 great topics here, and we're going to try to get to all of them on the show today. We may run out of time before we get to all of them, but we'll try to get through all of them. I want to start with this one because this is the one that really I think is going to be a hell of a discussion. It's who's the greatest coach in sports right now? All sports across the board.
I think I've got
college,
mine.
pro, all of them. Yeah, let's go.
Who wants to start it?
I don't know.
I'll start it.
Okay.
I'll start it.
You seem to already know what.
Yeah, because I'm still debating a little bit. So
I'm going to go, and I used to think Nick Saban, but I'm going to go Dabo Swinney.
Ooh, okay.
I'm going to go
Right now?
Dabo Swinney right now.
You know what? I would say in college football, the best coach is still Nick Saban. You know why? Because although Dabo, great coach, he's definitely number 2 on my list, hands down. I think Nick Saban has done such a better job recruiting. I think his recruiting has just been hands down better. It's always number 1. Dabo Swinney at one point wasn't even top 10 when it came to his recruits. Keep that in mind. His recruiting hasn't been as strong as Nick Saban's has been year after year after year. Also, I think that the best coaches have always been the strict disciplinarians, and I think Nick Saban is that to a T. Once a player comes to his program, those players know how they have to act. They know they have to be a better person, and for those few that aren't the better person, guess what? They don't survive at Alabama. They end up getting kicked off, or they have to transfer out just because it doesn't work out for them because they don't really go by the Nick Saban way. I would say Nick Saban is the best coach in all of sports. My runner-up to that is Bill Belichick.
Okay, all right. You want to go?
Well, I got Bill Belichick because his consistency every year, just his stats, his wins, and the way he coaches. He can make players that a lot of other coaches cannot make great. He makes those players great, and he knows how to make the team great with those players.
Can I counter you, though, with every year Bill Belichick has been a head coach and has been doing really well, minus year 1. Guess who he's had a quarterback?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
But that's still the
so
thing.
What I really will buy. I will buy your argument once Tom Brady retires. In fact, I think if Tom Brady retires, who's to say Bill Belichick's
I think he will.
No,
Yeah.
he's dipping.
That's why I go back to
out.
Nick Saban. He constantly has to go out and find the players himself. And he constantly has to use new players every year, and he wins championships, or at the very least, like last year, he goes to the championship.
I will say this. I understand your point with Tom Brady for Bill Belichick, but at the same time, look at the supporting cast around Tom Brady. It is a group of misfit toys around Tom Brady, and Belichick puts them in the right positions to win and helps them. It helps to have Brady, but the fact that he's doing this with guys like Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, that says a lot for Belichick.
And then I'll actually add to y'all's argument to help support your argument is that Bill Belichick, I'll give him this. He has such a talent for identifying the overlooked players.
Right.
Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, Chris Hogan, who is a lacrosse player. He has such an ability to identify the promise in players.
And we were talking about Randy Moss earlier in the show, and he's a guy that nobody wanted to touch him after the situation with the Tennessee Titans. Nobody wanted Randy Moss on their team. They thought he was a diva that was going to be a problem starter. He goes to New England, completely gets a second chance in his career, and that's because of Bill Belichick.
Here's another thing. When Brady was suspended, they went 3-1 against some pretty good, significant teams.
Yeah, he won with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback.
Jacoby Brissett, and he beat the Texans.
I like the Belichick answer.
Yeah.
And see, here's the other thing. Belichick can win those games. He wins games without those great players. Saban gets the great players. Like, he uses the great players. Belichick makes them. He makes the great players.
But once you win so many national titles like Nick Saban has, it's not really that hard to get them. And that's what I think you kind of strengthened my argument when you said that Dabo Swinney hasn't been as good of a recruiter. Well, he just won a national championship or he's won 2 where maybe he wasn't as good of a recruiter. Well, now he's going to get those recruits. And now we saw Dabo Swinney completely outcoach Nick Saban in the national championship game last year.
You're essentially saying he's a young Nick Saban because Nick Saban was
the same
exact way.
But I think he's past him.
And keeping in mind, Nick Saban, he started his career at Michigan State. He, like Dabo started his career, in 2008 with Clemson, and he was good, winning 10 games here and there, but wasn't quite getting over that hump. Once he finally managed to get over that hump, he was winning again. Nick Saban managed to get over that hump when he was at LSU. He gave the NFL a shot, didn't work out the way he thought, went right back to college, immediately got Alabama over that hump. They led him to an undefeated season against Florida. I think they lost their bowl game actually in 2007, but they went undefeated, losing against Florida in the SEC Championship, and then Utah in the Sugar Bowl, which was hilarious.
But
then getting over. But then
I don't care about this game.
But then that's the Georgia-Texas game we talked about at the beginning of the show. But then 2009, that's where the dynasty began with Alabama. So we could very much see that same thing happen to Clemson now. They won with Deshaun Watson, but then Alabama won again. Clemson wins last year. We very much could see Alabama-Clemson back in the national title game because with Trevor Lawrence as your quarterback, this guy's the ceiling can't be any higher.
But going back off that point, I think you're a better coach if you make great players instead of you get great players.
I can agree with that. I can go with that.
I can agree. If you make them, I think it's better.
All right. How about this for a coach? Because everybody here seems to be going with football. I'm gonna go with basketball on this. I'm gonna say Coach K, because Coach K is a guy who, you look at Coach Calipari. Coach Calipari is a guy at Kentucky, one and done across the board. That's about all he gets. You can even say that for Coach Izzo at Michigan State. He gets some one and done players, but he does get players to stick around. But the difference between Coach Izzo and Coach K, Duke is always Duke. Duke is always right there in the Final Four in the NCAA National Championship for basketball, and he's doing it with not just one and done players, but he's doing it with players that stick around. And he actually will take a one and done player and have them come back for a second year because they want to continue to play for Duke. So I'm going to go with Coach K.
I love Coach K. He would certainly be in I'd say my top three. Yeah. I love that pick. I do. However, one thing I'm noticing lately about Coach K is that and we're not talking about, of course, our ESPN Coach K. We're talking about Coach Krzyzewski at Duke. He, as a tenured basketball coach with the same program, I think in terms of long-term success, him and Bill Belichick for sure have built dynasties like crazy. With Duke, when was the last time he won a championship? 15?
I think so, yeah.
I think it was 15 last time he won a championship. I'm scared to say Coach K at the moment because I think he is the Nick Saban of recruiting for college basketball. He can go out and get the best player, but that best player, like most of his starting five this year, they're off to the NBA now. They're one and dones. I'm scared that's what Coach K's team is turning into now, because he had guys.
I can understand that.
The Christian Laettner years.
Yeah.
He had a bunch of star players who were 4-year players. These were guys who were here. They were graduating with a degree from Duke University, which is one of the hardest schools you can get into. They are graduating with a degree from Duke University and winning multiple championships along the way. What a life. You're not seeing that anymore. These are guys, you can't even go on the website to see what they're majoring in, because are they even going to major anything?
They don't even have a major.
They're on campus for a semester, basically. Yeah. They're really only on campus for a semester.
No, and I
believe, what classes are they taking?
Like TV editing, stuff like that, you know.
So I'm just so scared that moving forward, unless you get that Grayson Allen, who's not going to be an NBA player right away, or Christian Laettner could have gone sooner, but back in the day, players stayed in college.
He loved Coach K so much because Coach K and Christian Laettner, that's just a huge story.
But we're in that area where you can get the best recruits, and if they're that good, they're not going to stick around. They have no reason to.
And see, the sad thing about you, and you're spot on with what you're saying. I completely agree with that.
That will limit Duke's success moving forward.
But see, here's the thing, is if they were to do this where a college football, if they were to kind of change the same rule to where you could be one and done in college football, Trevor Lawrence would be out for Dabo Swinney now. You don't think he would be in the NFL draft after the season
he had? He would have been the number one pick.
Yeah, he would have been number one. It wouldn't be Kyler Murray going to Arizona. He would have been going to Arizona. So, it's if college football had that same rule, we'd be seeing the same thing with college football, unfortunately. But I completely agree and understand where you're coming from with that.
Side conversation, because I know Ray over here he's going to give his. Well, you already gave yours. You gave yours. And Jordan's last one.
Yeah, we're good with that.
So we're good. So, kind of going on the side, I would love for college players to stay in the college at least 3 years, because I'm hoping that along the way they are learning how to be a professional athlete. They learn at 18 years old, you're all of a sudden handed millions of dollars and you're expected to be smart with it. I'm sure they're given coaches. I'm sure they're given financial advisors that are here, they're in their ear, and I'm hoping they have a good enough agent to where their agent is also helping them out a lot with this kind of stuff. But another thing I'm hoping they're already learning in college is how to be a professional athlete along the way. I know they teach them how to work with media. They teach them how to be media guys and to say the right things and basically be PR guys. But one of the things I'm hoping they're learning along the way is how to manage themselves as a professional, how to manage their money, how to go about a contract, how to, kind of go along with back to the PR, how to be a captivating athlete in the terms of kids can look at you and think, I want to be that when I'm older.
Right.
How to be smarter as an athlete, because far too often we see the dumbest decisions. And again, I'm not going to blame an 18-year-old for getting $1 million and spending most of it right away, because let's say maybe he came from a poor background and he has no idea what having $10 is like. And in college, you're not technically supposed to have money. So I'm hoping that along the way, that if we're gonna transition away from the one and dones and kids have to be in school longer, I'm hoping that along the way they are learning how to be a professional athlete while still in college.
And I think one thing that helps them with that, and I agree with you on that completely, especially when you have a guy like Dabo Swinney or Nick Saban as your head coach, they're going to make sure you are well disciplined, that you are not acting. When's the last time we heard of an Alabama football player or even a Clemson football player outside of the situation with Dexter Lawrence with the drug test and things like that heading into the college football playoffs? When was the last time we heard about them getting in trouble with the police?
It's very rare.
Yeah,
it's very rare.
Because they keep those players on the right path. They make sure they're completely ready. When they leave that school to go into the NFL, they are 100% ready to be in the NFL when they leave.
And that's one of the, like Cleveland Farrell, like, what a great guy.
Yeah.
Such a good guy, good head, great family. Dexter Lawrence, these are guys that are just really good people. And they're probably good people going into college, and they're better people now leaving college.
And by
because
the way,
they had these kind of coaches that honestly they weren't afraid to get onto them. But I'm going to go ahead and bring Dabo back into this one. He's also really good about connecting with his players.
Yeah.
I don't know how well Nick Saban is with connecting with his players. He does host
actually
them for
really
2
well.
minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I know he had a couple players on his boat one time, so the coaches that are able to be strict but at the same time are able to show their players that they are still human, that hey, you know what, like, let's cook dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Like, let's have a team bonding dinner. Let's go out on my boat and let's just have a relaxing day and let's just be friends today. I love coaches who are able to find that difference.
If you ever get the chance, and I know we got to take a quick time out here coming up in just a quick minute, but if you ever get the chance to speak to A.J. McCarron, ask him about his relationship with Nick Saban. You want to find out how he relates to players? That's a perfect example.
And they had a great relationship
Yeah.
because Nick Saban saw a lot of himself in him as a team leader.
Yeah.
Don't forget about the gas for the boat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The players are snapping.
That's a memo for Nick Saban. Don't
Coach
forget
forgot
the
to fill up
gas.
the tank.
All right,
We're
we're going to
stranded.
take a quick time out. We'll come back and wrap up today's show right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
When Jamie Stevens got out of the Navy in 1968, he opened J&D Cleaners. With his commitment to quality cleaning at fair prices, the business grew to become the best dry cleaners in Santa Rosa County. Jimmy's son, Corey, owns J&D Cleaners now, and he shares the family commitment to excellence. J&D Cleaners has discounts for military uniforms, on-site alterations, and a convenient drive-through window at the Milton location. Trust your clothes to J&D Cleaners on Stewart Street, just north of 90 in Milton, and on Woodbine Road, just south of 5 Points and Pace. It's J&D Cleaners.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Getting knocked down on the football field makes you tough, but getting back up makes you tougher. At Goodyear, we call that determination. A willingness to put in more hours, more reps, and more heart to reach a bar that's sky high. Because the Goodyear blimp doesn't show up for just anybody. So don't be just anybody. Be blimp-worthy. Goodyear, more driven.
Our Pensacola Wahoos are back for another season, and with the new season comes some fresh and new changes. Our Wahoos are now the new AA affiliate of the Minnesota Twins, and they have a new broadcast home here in Pensacola, right here at your hometown station for hometown sports, ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Catch all the Wahoos action from home and away with Chris Garagiola. Wahoos baseball presented by Denny's on the new official flagship station for the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 94.5 and ESPNpensacola.com.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
into Sports Call with Jordan and Davis. We are having some fun, as you can probably tell.
Can you tell it's Saturday?
Look, I wasn't aware the mics were even on there for a second, and then I heard myself echo in my headphones and go, okay, he turned the microphones on.
Yeah,
so,
it's summertime.
Watch what you say. But no, we're having a lot of fun here. Again, it's Sports Call with Jordan and Davis on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Welcome back in. Wrapping up today's show. Got about 8 minutes left in the show, but if you do want to be a part of it, 972-1945, 972-1945. Let's keep going with some of these conversations that Justin texted in here, or not texted in, but sent us. How about this one? We talked about the greatest coach in all of sports right now. What is the greatest individual sports record in all of sports?
Rayleigh, you go ahead and take it first.
I'll start it then. I think, and here's mine, Cal Ripken Jr.'s all-time games played.
Iron Man, all right.
So 2,632 consecutive games played, and that is equal to playing 16 seasons in a row, every game, and not sitting down.
300 and... Wait, no,
just over
162 ball games. I was about to say 365
yeah,
days.
That's a year.
No, 100,
just under,
162 ball
just
games.
over 16 seasons of playing nonstop. That's insane.
Wow.
No one will ever break that.
No, absolutely not.
I have one that I think no one will ever break too, and that is Wilt Chamberlain's most points in a single game record when he scored 100.
Just straight 100.
Yeah, straight 100. No, I don't ever see it happen.
What's the closest we've gotten to it? 81?
81 from Kobe.
Yeah.
Kobe.
So that's I don't think that'll be. It would have to be somebody like KD or LeBron or Steph or somebody like Steph just getting crazy hot with the threes.
No. It would have to be the team focuses on getting him the ball every time. Like, we're going to do that tonight. That's the only way I see it.
And we've got too many people that want the ball themselves in the NBA, so that's not happening.
Franchises won't do it, and because they'll be shamed upon by all the sports world, they won't do it.
So I'm going to go ahead and agree with Ray over here. And look, I've met Cal Ripken Jr. It was one of those things where I worked at a restaurant, and we had athletes coming in there all the time. Because, you have the Andrews Institute nearby, and you're going to have athletes come in. And we were not allowed to get autographs. We were not allowed to interfere with their dinner or their lunch, or else we'd get fired, like, on the spot. But I took a risk one day, and I saw Cal Ripken Jr., diehard baseball guy. I've met a ton of athletes. Robert Griffin III, Rob Gronkowski was super cool, by the way. I held the door for him and he said, "Thanks, buddy."
Duh.
Jadeveon Clowney literally had an hour-long conversation with my dad at the bar. Like, some of the coolest guys, but none of them I would go up to for an autograph. But then Cal Ripken Jr. was with his wife, just sitting at the table, and I grabbed one of the sheets that you take an order on. I was like, "Sir, like, it is unbelievable that you're here right now. Like, may I please have your autograph?" And he's just like, "Yeah, sure." And I was so nervous.
$50.
I was so nervous that I could be telling a story right now about how Cal Ripken Jr. did not give me an autograph.
Because
told me to go away, basically. But
couldn't you have lost your job over that too?
I could have lost my job.
It's
over
worth it.
an
But it's worth it.
It's
worth it.
To me, that was the
Davis,
one
we gotta fire you.
time.
Cal
That
Ripken,
was the
whatever.
one time where I could walk out with my head held high and have this card in my hand, and be like, "Got it."
Yeah,
got it.
that's.
And I wasn't working there long enough to where it was like, all right, like, I'm super glued to this job. I can't risk it. But I got it. I didn't get fired. No one knew I did it. Other employees did, but
well, they do now.
I did.
They do now.
But,
for sure.
Sorry, I'm currently co-hosting a radio show, so come and get me now. But if I could give like a superlative, like a second shout out, Joe DiMaggio's 55-game hit streak is pretty. I think the closest to that, there was like a 30-game hit streak, and then Oakland A's had a 20-game win streak back in 2000 that a lot of people thought was going to be hard to beat, but then the Cleveland Indians won 21 games in a row 2 years ago. Yep. So, and I think that is beatable. I really do think that's beatable. Yeah. And then also another shout out is Golden State's win streak. They won 23 games in a row, more than that, I think.
And Kentucky's of like, what was it, like 4 or 5 years ago? They started the season like 38-0. Their first loss
they were undefeated in the regular
until
season,
the Final Four.
Oh, and then also I got another shout out. Just other streaks that are really tough to beat would be Boston's 7 games in a row, been like stretching from the 50s to the 60s. They went to a bunch of championships in a row, winning many of them in a row. And then UCLA dominating the landscape. But to me, the toughest, I'm going to have to go with it, Cal Ripken Jr.
I've got a couple of different ones, actually, because I just couldn't decide, and we have the time, so we're going to go over these. The first one is going to be the home run record. I don't think we've got a lot of great power hitters in Major League
Career
Baseball
home run
right
record?
now. Yeah, career home run record.
It's like 763.
It's something like that. Yeah,
the exact number is 762.
Okay,
62,
so it's on the downhill side, moving towards 800. So that I don't think a player ever gets to that level. They make it close, but
the closest active player is Albert Pujols, and he's got 641, and he is on dirt for his last season.
He is big maybe. I think
No,
I say after the All-Star break, Albert Pujols should go ahead and say, all right, I'm done after this year, so then that way he could get like one more
victory lap.
He'll get the victory lap, or if he wants to tough it out for next season,
I could definitely agree with that. So I'm going to say, for one, I'm going to say the personal home run record for an entire career. But then another one, I'm going to say 72 Miami Dolphins being the only NFL team to go undefeated.
Ooh,
I don't think another NFL team will go undefeated.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
But I do think in the history of football, that's the future, I really should say. In the future of football, I think there's going to be at least one undefeated Super Bowl winning team. The Patriots were that other team technically. The Patriots are the team with the best ever win percentage, but Dolphins are going to have the best win percentage, but the most wins belong to the 07
the Patriots played more games that year, so their winning percentage will be higher than Miami. But I
think in the landscape of all of the NFL, eventually there will be a team that will go undefeated and win the Super Bowl.
Okay. What if? But and this is the only question I have about it. When you get to week 16 or whatever, you've got teams like the Saints last year that rested their stars that last week. Do you think that would happen? Okay, we're 15-0. Last week of the regular season, we're easily in the playoffs. Do I sit my guys, or do I push this record?
Yeah, I think there's more pressure on winning a Super Bowl. So I think if you've got a good, talented team with the right players in place, you sit them, you rest them that way. Because if you're trying to go for 17 or 16-0 in the regular season and then keep going throughout the postseason, what happens if you're the New Orleans Saints and Drew Brees takes a sack, rolls his knee, tears his ACL? Then you have no chance in the postseason. So I think
that's my thing. I don't think. That's why I don't think it'll happen.
And then my final one is a room full of Florida fans. We're going to like this. I don't think in college sports we will ever see a football team and a men's basketball team win a national title in the same year, like we did with Florida.
Oh, Florida! That is a very tough one. All right, like that one.
I have this is like the last question of the show. We're just going to go like a yes/no thing. Can the present Warriors beat the 95-96 Bulls?
Yes.
No.
I'll say yes as well.
Yes.
Milwaukee Bucks, Game 6.
I got the Bucks.
I got the Raptors.
I have the Bucks.
I also have the Bucks.
All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week. It's been Sports Call with Jordan and Davis on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
All sports,